It's an unimaginable tragedy when a family is destroyed by the very person who was supposed to protect them, a father murdering his own family. We'll explore the heartbreaking reality that a person can be capable of such unthinkable acts. Christopher Lee Watts strangled his pregnant wife Shannan and smothered their 2 children, Bella and Celeste, in the early hours of August 13, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado. After this horrible deed, he dumped the remains of his 2 daughters inside oil tanks and buried Shannan close to an oil storage facility. Watts first denied any role in his family's disappearance, but during a police interview on August 15, he eventually admitted to killing them. Watts entered a plea agreement on November 6, 2018, admitting guilt to several charges of first-degree murder when the death penalty was abolished from Colorado's sentencing guidelines in 2020. He will serve 3 consecutively along with 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Shannan Watts was from Aberdeen, North Carolina, and Christopher was from Spring Lake. They met in 2010, and on November 3, 2012, they were married in Mecklenburg County. 2 daughters, Bella Marie and Celeste Catherine, were a part of the Watts family. When Shannan passed away in August 2018, she was expecting a baby, Nico. On Monday, August 13, 2018, at 1:48 a.m., Shannan's friend and co-worker Nicole Utoft Atkinson drove her home from her business trip to Arizona. Watts had been spending the weekend with their daughters at home. Atkinson became concerned later that day when Shannan didn't respond to her messages and she missed an appointment for obstetrics and gynecology. She reported them missing. Atkinson rang her doorbell and knocked, but no one answered. She then called Christopher, who was at work, and the Frederick Police Department. Around 1:40 p.m., a Frederick police officer arrived to perform a welfare check. Christopher gave them permission to examine the house during this inspection, but they only discovered their family dog unharmed and no signs of Shannan or her daughters. Her purse, which included her keys and children's medication, was found by searchers. Her phone was also discovered among the couch cushions. The car seats from her automobile were still in the garage, and Shannan's wedding ring was set on the nightstand. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation and FBI performed a search the next day. When Watts first spoke with police, he claimed to have no information of the whereabouts of his family and to have last seen his wife at 5:15 a.m. the day before. He spoke to some reporters from outside the home, appealing for the return of his wife and daughters. During the conversation, the sound of investigators with search dogs could be heard close by. Watts was taken into custody. The arrest affidavit and video from a security camera in the interrogation room show that he failed a polygraph test before confessing to killing Shannan. He wanted to speak to his father before coming clean. According to the affidavit, Watts was conducting an affair when he asked Shannan for a divorce. He claimed to have killed Shannan after she rejected his request for a divorce, killing her, and taking the bodies to a remote oil storage facility that his company, Anadarko Petroleum, had leased. Shannan had allegedly killed the daughters in a fit of rage. The Watts family's bodies were found on the oil storage site, which is located about 3 miles north of Rogan, on August 16. The girls' remains were found in crude oil storage tanks, while Shannan was buried nearby in a little grave. At the top of various oil tanks, there were 8-inch diameter hatches that Bella and Celeste's bodies had been driven through. The medical examiner reported that Bella's left buttock had scrapes from being pushed through this hatch, and a clump of blonde hair was found on one of these hatches' edges. On August 21, Watts was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of tampering with a dead person's body, and a 4th felony for each child that was defined as death of a child who had not attained the age of 12 and the defendant was in a position of trust. Bail was denied when he appeared in court for the first time. In the end, his bond was set at $5 million, with a 15% down payment needed to release him. In the media, the case has been linked to the crime of family annihilation. Many of these incidents happened in August, right before the start of the school year, which could delay their detection and investigation. According to former FBI profiler Candace DeLong, Cases like the Watts are unique since family annihilators usually commit themselves after the murders, which Watts stated he had considered out of guilt for his actions. On November 6, Watts acknowledged responsibility for the killings. The family of Shannan requested that the district attorney not propose the death penalty because they did not want any more people to perish. They supported his decision to accept the plea agreement. On November 19, he received 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent life sentences with no chance of parole. He received 36 years for 3 charges of tampering with a dead body and an extra 48 years for illegally ending Shannan's pregnancy. Due to security concerns, Watts was relocated to another state on December 3, 2018. He entered the maximum security Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, on December 5 to start his life sentences anew. This tragic and heartbreaking story of a father who brutally killed his own family is a reminder of the atrocities that can happen within people's homes. It also serves as an important lesson to be aware of the warning signs that could indicate someone is at risk for committing acts like this, so they can hopefully get help before it's too late. Our hearts go out to those affected by this tragedy, and we must remain vigilant in our efforts to protect families everywhere from such violence.